Good morning, I'm Craig DeGrelli. It's Tuesday, January 28th, 2025, and these are your Unbiased Updates. Shake-up within the military. Who's getting discharged and dismissed under the new Trump administration rules? Also, immigration crackdown. 1 week into the new administration, Immigration and Customs Enforcement is wasting no time rounding up migrants who are in the country illegally. This morning, we have some initial numbers from the first week.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world, these are today's Unbiased Updates.
President Trump has signed more executive orders, this time reshaping the nation's military. The orders include banning transgender service members, getting rid of the military's diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, and reinstating, with back pay, service members who are discharged for refusing to get a COVID-19 vaccine. All of this comes as President Trump's nominee to lead the Pentagon, Pete Hegseth, was sworn in as Secretary of Defense on Saturday and had his first day on the job Monday. Hegseth has long said he would make major cultural changes to the military, including ending DEI practices and removing so-called woke service members. On his first official day on the job, Hegseth told reporters to expect more changes.
And today, there are more executive orders coming that we fully support on removing DEI inside the Pentagon, reinstating troops who were pushed out because of COVID mandates, Iron Dome for America. This is happening quickly.
Donald Trump had banned transgender Americans from serving in the military during his first administration, but President Joe Biden issued an order repealing the ban. Hours after being sworn in for his second term last week, President Trump signed an order undoing Biden's. That order goes even further, outlining new military standards regarding gender pronouns. We are only a week into Trump's second presidency, and already his efforts to crack down on illegal immigration in the United States have resulted in the arrests of more than 3,500 migrants. This comes as the Washington Post is reporting President Trump wants ICE to increase its daily arrests from a few hundred to between 12 and 1,500. Immigration and Customs Enforcement announced a multi-agency immigration operation led to more than 1,100 arrests in a single day, a record for the new administration so far. ICE said on Sunday alone, law enforcement officers arrested 956 people and lodged 554 detainers, which means, quote, there's probable cause to believe the person is removable from the United States under federal immigration law. And in a weekend interview on ABC News, Border Czar Tom Homan said daily deportation numbers are set to rise in the coming weeks as the Trump administration begins to expand its operations. Homan himself went to Chicago to oversee how things were going in the city where the mayor has vowed to keep its sanctuary status. ICE officials say those considered threats to public safety and national security are still the agency's top priority. Also, immigration officials can now arrest people who are living in the United States illegally if they run across them while looking for migrants targeted for removal. These so-called collateral arrests were banned during the Biden administration. This morning, the Department of Homeland Security is facing lawsuits from 5 Quaker congregations over last week's policy reversal, allowing immigration agents to conduct searches and arrests in sensitive areas such as churches and schools. The Quaker groups, known as the Religious Society of Friends, say the policy change harms their congregations by deterring immigrants from worshiping in person, thus violating their First Amendment rights. The lawsuit, filed yesterday, says Quaker worship involves multiple congregants sitting together in silence to await a message from God. The Quakers appear to be the first religious organization to challenge the new policy. The Department of Homeland Security, now led by newly confirmed former South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, says it does not comment on pending litigation. The Trump administration has started a so-called special project to investigate prosecutors who charged some of the January 6th Capitol rioters with obstruction. In a memo issued Monday, interim U.S. Attorney in Washington, D.C., Ed Martin ordered the prosecutors to hand over information related to the charges to 2 officials he appointed, who must issue a report on the probe by Friday. This move comes as the Trump administration has fired more than a dozen federal employees who worked on criminal investigations into the president. Straight Arrow News reporter Lauren Taylor explains how that's related to this special project.
Special counsel Jack Smith resigned before President Trump took office. And now, under the new Trump administration, the Justice Department fired more than a dozen career officials who worked to prosecute the president. Smith's team brought charges against Trump for allegedly mishandling classified documents and for his role in the lead up to the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. Courts later dismissed both cases. Many of the fired employees were career officials following orders or assigned to the investigations. In his letter to them, Acting Attorney General James McHenry told the outgoing employees that he believed their prior work compromised his trust in them. Given your significant role in prosecuting the president, he wrote, I do not believe that the leadership of the department can trust you to assist in implementing the president's agenda faithfully. McHenry's mention of the president's agenda is something that's become a source of political discourse. The Justice Department's mission statement includes independence and impartiality as part of its historic values. But both Democrats and Republicans have accused each other of politicizing or weaponizing the department with their actions in recent years. After taking office last week, Trump signed an executive order ending what he described as the weaponizing of the federal government. It's part of a broader effort by Trump to investigate prosecutors involved in bringing charges against him and his allies, a key promise he made on the campaign trail. The investigation extends to charges against participants in the January 6 attack, with interim U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C., Ed Martin, looking into the origins of obstruction charges against some rioters. The Supreme Court threw out those charges in a ruling last summer. The employees set to lose their jobs do have a mechanism to appeal the decision. The letter noted they can appeal to the Merit Systems Protection Board, which reviews cases where government employees allege illegal workplace practices or partisan political interference with nonpartisan jobs.
Our Lauren Taylor reporting. Meantime, the Trump administration placed at least 56 senior officials in the U.S. Agency for International Development on administrative leave yesterday amid an investigation into an alleged effort to ignore the president's executive order last week. It stipulated a 90-day pause on most American foreign assistance dispersed through the State Department. This morning, lots of eyes will be on the stock market to see if the Nasdaq can rebound from a manic Monday. A surprise advancement by the Chinese startup artificial intelligence company DeepSeek sent shockwaves through the tech market. DeepSeek released its large language ChatGPT-like model called R1. It supposedly has all the capabilities as OpenAI, as well as Google's and Meta's AI models. However, the Chinese version can operate at a fraction of the cost compared to its American counterparts. That sent the Nasdaq spiraling downward on Monday as chipmaker NVIDIA lost almost $600 billion in value as DeepSeek makes inroads in the tech industry. The Nasdaq fell by 600 points. This morning, however, futures are up. Finally this morning, Google is getting behind President Trump's plan to change the names of some of America's most iconic landmarks. The search engine giant announced yesterday it will be changing the names of the Gulf of Mexico and Denali on its maps for American users as soon as the federal government makes the switch. Under an executive order signed by President Trump on his first day in office, the Gulf of Mexico would become the Gulf of America, and Denali, Mount McKinley in Alaska. It is the highest mountain in North America at 20,310 feet. The president directed the Interior Secretary to make the changes within 30 days. Trump does not yet have an official Interior Secretary, but the Senate is considering his nominee, former North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum. Those are your unbiased updates for this Tuesday. We hope to see you back here tomorrow. For all of us here at Straight Arrow News, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Have a great day.